So have you ever looked at a trailer and thought, this is the perfect camper for me, right? I love it. And whether it's new or used, you always worry about if everything works on it, if everything is in good condition. Are you gonna have any problems? Well, that's where an RV inspector comes in, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the podcast. We have our favorite RV inspector here, so hang in there with us, and we'll tell you all about how that works. Welcome to the RV Small Talk Podcast. It is brought to you by Princess Craft RV, and I am your host, PJ, and I have Cody with us.
What up?
Yeah, I have Mike from Cozy Camper.
Hey, everybody.
So we are all here to talk about inspecting campers. But, yeah, sounds kind of boring right out of the chute, but I don't know. I guess if you love trailers, knowing if they work is kind of important, right?
Yeah, it's hard to enjoy the RV lifestyle if you're not sure the lights are going to turn on or the air conditioning is going to work when you take it out to the campsite. So,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Nobody
fun,
worries
though.
about that.
There was
I'm pretty sure our customers don't worry about that because they call us up and say, hey, I just got to my campsite and nothing's turning on. And I'm like, well, did you even test it somewhere in between? Oh, I haven't used it in 6 months.
Yeah, that's a big one. I love when I hear that conversation. You know, hey, this thing is not working. You said it did. Well, it did 6 months ago. There's a video of it working.
Yes.
I don't know what's happened to it. Like, you know, is it March and we had a freeze and now your water heater doesn't work? You know, so we hear that all the time. Yes.
Do you? Yeah, it's crazy. But there are a lot of really diligent campers who take very good care. And when they buy something new, which is mostly where an RV inspector comes in, right?
Yeah, was actually surprising to me when I started this business. I expected to be doing mostly used RV inspections, and that's not been the case. It's been largely new.
New.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, I got a lot of questions about that
Yeah.
piece because, you know, that there's just something kind of off about that. So we'll get there. All right. But let's start with what the heck? I mean, I've been doing this a very long time, and RV inspectors is kind of a new deal. So I know you haven't been an RV inspector for 20 years. So what was your previous life?
So, yeah, to my knowledge, RV inspections as a service have only existed as a separate entity for like 10 years. So it's
If that long.
yeah, I don't
If
think
that long.
I think the first RV inspections ever were in Heber Springs, Arkansas, not even 10 years ago. So it's very new. But my first career was actually in law enforcement. I did that straight out of college. I know, right? I did that.
What?
I did it for more than 12 years. I was in law enforcement first in Illinois and then here in Central Texas.
What does law enforcement mean? I mean, exactly what did you do?
Sure. So I was a police officer in both of those
Okay.
states for small, medium-sized agencies. Most of my career was here in Central Texas. I started as a patrol officer. I worked in the community engagement, community outreach, public information office, which is why this gets easier. Promoted to sergeant, ran a couple of shifts, ran the big medical district downtown, and then my last assignment was in the training section. So I trained new police officers and did in-service training for them. So standing in front of crowds and talking to people is something I've been doing for a long time, did it professionally. But I got into the RV business first with a rental fleet. So I bought a number of RVs starting in 2019. And as you might imagine, I spent a lot of time fixing the RVs when the renters would
that no,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
and you know, at that time I
Every
was
day.
just kind of above average handy and was working through it, watching YouTube videos, making tons of mistakes.
While you're training police officers.
Yeah, so that was all happening
Oh.
at the same
Okay.
time. And which, you know, I ran out of time because I was getting, or money because I was sending RV techs to go help these people. So I went to the RV trade school in East Texas just to kind of get ahead and gain some knowledge. And I found out about RV inspections, and I really liked the idea of doing them. And so I went back, did the RV inspector training, and then over the next couple of years, first it was a side hustle, and now I do that mostly full time. So really, the whole journey has only been 5 years since we started.
Wow.
Okay, well, that was unexpected. I need to process for just a minute.
I guess my question would be is what turned you towards RV inspections over staying in law enforcement?
So I knew that I wanted a business. I knew that I wanted to do something other than being a police officer, and I really enjoyed being a police officer. But I wanted to do something that all this started as a desire to just have a side hustle on my days off.
Right.
Cops and firemen get a lot of days off,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So I wanted a side hustle, and I knew I wanted a business. And then, especially once I got my hands around the RV inspection business, I really enjoyed it, and I found that like I wasn't focusing as much at the PD anymore, and I was really passionate about doing this other thing. So I said, all right, well, something's got to go, and it's not this thing that I'm developing on the side. It's going to be the PD, and
Well,
Wow.
who does that? I mean, seriously, Mike, who does that?
well,
Who says, I have a obviously very successful career at the police department. I can move up the ladder. It's a sure thing. Great benefits, solid
Retirement.
experience. I mean, and you decided you want to start a business inspecting RVs. Okay, I will tell you, even to me, who I'm a little crazy, that sounds crazy.
you would not
That sounds crazy.
you would not be the first person in my life to say like, hey Mike, what's going on with that? And,
Okay, you married?
I am.
And did she say, "What the heck, dude"?
She is the most supportive, wonderful woman I know. And
Oh,
she said,
promo for the
Yeah,
wife.
well,
I love it.
Elizabeth is the other half of the business. So
Love
she
it.
is the one that does the scheduling and a lot of the coordinating. And I did not originally tell her I was supposed to be here today, which caused a little friction.
Oh.
But
Oh
Whoops.
no,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Hey, I am so sorry. I will try to train him to talk to you more about that.
all we can do
Not
is
miss
better.
it. And thank you for letting him show up here today.
But the PD will still be there. If I decide I want to go back and this doesn't work out, or maybe it gets so big that it doesn't require my day-to-day attention anymore, the police department will still be there, and we can go back at any time. I still have an active license, but I felt it was important to try, and I thought if I never tried to do this on my own, I would regret forever not trying. And so, I mean,
That's a really good reason to do almost anything.
right. Like,
Yeah.
let's just see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, okay, well, we tried. And,
Yeah.
And that's how we've gotten to this point.
So, how long has it been
Since I left
since
the PD, or
you left the PD and said, "Let's do this. Let's have an inspection business"?
I think it became a full-time hustle in 2022. At the beginning of 2022 is when I left and said, let's do this full-time.
Okay. So about 3 years.
Yeah.
And how would you say it's going?
It is. I was talking with some of the other RV inspectors about this, and the RV inspection service is not very well defined at this point. It's still
Right, that's true.
That's true. Yep.
It's very new, and something we have large social media presence, and so something that I feel strongly about doing is sort of helping to define it. So that's where I'm at in this space right now. Is when you ask me how it's going, I'm not really sure. Like we're busy, we're busy.
Not sure.
So if we look at metrics, like we're busy, our social media does well. We do a lot of inspections. Our customers seem happy. You said I'm your favorite. So that tells me like, okay, well, it seems like things are going really well. But I'm always looking like, well, what can I change?
Right.
What can I do better? Like, okay, I was trained to do this, but do I need to do this thing? And that's kind of where I'm at this point. It's like, all right, well, if I do 200 inspections a year. So like with that volume, like what can I change? What works and what doesn't? And then how do I convince my peers and dealerships and the public that what I'm trying to do is a good idea? So that's a long-winded answer to be like, I don't know. I'm insecure.
okay.
I'm working on it.
So in defining the role of an RV inspector, what exactly does an RV inspector do?
Great question. So the
One we probably should have asked in the beginning, right? We get there
We'll get there.
eventually.
So the RV inspector's role is to come in during a sale, typically, and objectively evaluate the coach's condition before somebody purchases it. And once it's done, the client can use that report to say, hey, can you guys fix this stuff for me before I buy it, or negotiate a different price, or sometimes walk away from an RV altogether. Sometimes there's real problems with RVs that people want to
Sure.
walk away from. That happens. And so this process for me usually takes 6 or 8 hours. I turn it into a report that day, and then something that's important to me is to help educate the client about what some of this stuff is, and to manage expectations about what comes next. So, if I put in a report, for example, hey, the air conditioner doesn't work, that is a big deal. We want
Yeah.
to make sure the air
Yeah.
conditioners don't work.
Sure.
But it isn't that hard to fix an RV air conditioner, right? Like we can slap a new Coleman on there today, right? Like we'll get the forklift out and do it. So a lot of the job is just kind of explaining like, hey, yeah, most dealers will handle the X, Y, and Z. If it's used, they won't do A, B, or C, or maybe they will, depending on their process. Just ask. And then explaining, kind of coaching what the maintenance of these things is moving forward. So that, in a nutshell, is the role of the RV inspector. But that is one of those things that I'm kind of constantly adjusting the dials on. So it's not just coming out and making a list and getting the service guys mad at me, right? It's like, hey, no, like, yeah, there's some things going on. This is what it all means, and this is what you can or won't do in the future.
Okay, so here is the big question. I asked you here for only one reason. It is all self-serving. No, I'm just kidding. But the reality is, we have a dealership, and we inspect units. Some people, I'm sure you hear, why do I have to pay somebody? The dealership should do that. And the dealership should do that, and we do that. We turn on everything, we check it. We have a pre-delivery inspection. Now, some people have a really fancy name where they say, oh yeah, we have a 22 point so-and-so where we do yada, yada, yada. And they make it sound real eloquent. I'm telling you, we just crawl all over it. We turn everything on. We fill it full of water. We do everything. We're constantly tweaking, but we do try to do a very good inspection. I can imagine that dealerships would get their feelings hurt, if nothing else, if the customer says, no, I want my own independent inspector. And then I also think there are customers that'll say, why do I need to pay somebody? Because the dealership should do that. Isn't that what I'm paying for when I buy the unit? I mean, both those sides have real complications, not only for you to jump over, but for a dealership to jump over. How do we do that? What do you run into there?
Yeah, so I agree that the dealership should, and they generally do some kind of pre-purchase inspection. And here's a little sound quote that y'all can cut out. Like when I come to Princess Craft, right? And
we don't cut anything out, by the way.
No, I mean you can use it. Like, hey, here's Mike's endorsement. Like, I was just at Princess Craft in Houston on Friday.
Yep.
And or when I come here to Round Rock, the attitude is always the same. Like, hey, Mike, there it is over there. Let us know what you find. A lot of times you're like, oh, we've already found that. We're just not going to tell Mike that it's there, right?
We're testing you. We're testing you as
We're
well.
going to see if you find it. No, I'll come out at the end and we'll talk. They'll be like, oh, yeah, I found that, huh? Okay, cool. No, but and that's
We don't do that.
and that's fine. But that's, I think you're an outlier in that way. So
Really?
I do. So what I think is, what I tell my clients is it's a really good sign for a dealership when you go to them and you say, hey, I really want this RV inspection. The good sign is when the seller says, I don't think you need it, but if you want to do it, sweet. But here's what we do, right? And then you lay it out.
Right?
What is a bad look is when the dealership will stand on ceremony and talk about how great their process is and how they've already PDI'd it, and then I get there and the roof is rotting out.
What?
And I find that happens, not here, Let's be clear, not at Princess Craft, but I've gone to a lot of dealers where, they'll scream and moan that they don't need an RV inspection, how great their process is, and I'll find, delaminated wall or a rotten roof, rotten slide out, whatever critical. And we're not talking about like little gaps in sealant or like scratches,
Right,
which every
right.
single RV has, but like major
That's right.
failures.
Right,
There's one dealer in
right.
town that will remain nameless. I don't think that an inspection, I don't know that a sale has ever completed on a used RV there because the RVs are always so rough. And the dealer will stand on ceremony and talk about how great their process is. And then, the one, I did a roof where the hole underneath the solar panel, it was all soggy. And not only that, it had intruded inside and you could see, the kind of discoloration where the
Right,
roof seals. So
right.
obviously there'd been advanced water intrusion. And if that were at dealership pre-delivery state where they didn't know, they could say, oh, okay, well, we'll fix that, put a new roof on for you. But it was at delivery phase. So they were about to send this RV out the door with this water damage in it.
Well, I am just having police thoughts when you say advanced water intrusion. I am like, is that a name of something? I mean, it sounds so official.
Yeah, that means it's
but
real
it's
bad.
leaked
It's bad.
already.
It's leaked.
It's already leaked.
It is already leaked. Yeah, wow. So we have just struck fear in every single listener out there. But let's be clear, you're talking about used ones. Used ones are tricky. And as a dealer, sometimes we struggle with, we get a used one in. I mean, Cody, we have these discussions all the time where
We sure do.
We get units in and we're like, okay, it's not in perfect shape. It's usable. Do we want to sell it?
Right.
Because some units, they'll say, it's got a little squishy right here. It might have 10 more years left in it if you take care of it.
Right.
But do we want to put our name on it? And sometimes we just wholesale those.
Yep.
And, it's kind of terrible because
Yeah.
we're just kind of pushing it down the road.
Yep.
But we're like, no, I think this is not the quality we want to sell.
We do that. Yeah, we'll call up and get it. We'll when the customer's in making the purchase, we'll just call the wholesaler and make an agreement on the spot because we're like, well, that's not quite the condition we were hoping that would be in.
Right.
Yeah. But I also know sometimes we do have things that aren't perfect. And we try to tell the customer, hey, that's the reason this is a super cheap price.
Right.
Because look right here.
Right.
So, and then we try to educate customers too. And we've done a few podcasts actually in the past on how to buy a used RV and what to look for. I bet you've done a ton of them.
Oh, a million. Yeah.
Yes, because you just want to tell them you have to open the drawers. You have to open the cabinets and look at the ceiling. Try to teach them to be a little better at inspecting their own. But I also think there's nothing quite as valuable as having an independent person look at it.
Yeah, non-biased. They're there to do a job. They're not the dealer.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make the
And
sell.
we can't sell repair service to you after the inspection. We're not allowed to. So
Okay.
if I find a broken air conditioner, you can't take it to me for a period of 1 year to fix. So like there's no financial incentive for me to overstate what's
Now,
going
whose
on.
rule is that?
That is a rule of the National RV Inspectors Association. And since I was the police, I am.
You
I-
police
I-
the
I-
rule.
I-
You stick to the
I
law,
stick
right?
to the rules, and some inspectors might like try to skirt it. No, the rule says what it says. So I'm very diligent about that rule. But to your point about the used RVs, kind of the way that we phrase it is every used RV is a project when you buy it. The only
It really is. Thank
Yeah.
you. I wish we could talk more about that because people say I bought a used one, but it should be perfect.
no, it's never going to be perfect. Well, never say never. The
Well,
one I did.
I always say never,
The
but
one
I
I
shouldn't.
did. I did the inspection at Princess Craft on Hughes. It was really good. It was in really good shape. There was a couple of hickeys with it, but no used RV is perfect.
Correct.
And
Most new RVs.
Yeah, I was going
are
to say,
perfect,
can you
by
compare
the
that to a
way.
new one?
oh boy, we could talk all day.
That is the next conversation. Y'all don't go anywhere because the fun's just getting started.
So what are some of the main things that you look for when you are inspecting a unit?
I mean, it's the same. The big thing that scares everybody is water intrusion, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Number one enemy, right?
right, and so I spend a lot of time just checking for any sign of water intrusion. And like you said, like a camper can have a leak once, and it's okay.
Yeah,
Right. It's okay.
absolutely.
Like if some, but the problem is when you don't know about it or you don't treat it, or people like to talk about pre-COVID RVs and whatever else. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to get into the weeds of the conversation about whether they were better or not then. They probably were. But there's so few.
We know your stance.
Yeah, but there's so few that are well maintained from that era, right? Like,
Yes.
Particularly in the trailer space where they don't get maintained. So just following up on that, how much maintenance has been done? Has it ever been resealed? Right, so like, hey, we
And
see
you can tell by looking at an
You
RV
can.
if it's ever been resealed.
the die-core is a different color, right? You don't have to have special training to know.
Yep.
And
Right.
so the water intrusion is a big one for me. That's
Yep.
I think that's the meat of the inspection. And then also, if you can get through that, and then you can get into the appliances and you find that they all work, you're having a pretty good day. Right? If everything else is just maintenance level, where like, yeah, you just need to catch up some sealant, put some new tires on it. Maybe the slide needs an adjustment or something. If you can just get there, we're having a good day. That's kind of how I look at it. What I hate is, and this happens particularly on used ones, is, if we're in that state where the dealership is saying, oh, this thing's great, and I walk up and I can see delamination from the ground. It's like, well, I was here for 30 seconds. And the client told me they're not buying anything with delamination or a soft roof. Like, well, what am I like? You booked me for a whole day. Like, I don't need to be here for I was here for 5 minutes. Like, everybody can see it from the ground.
Then what do you do?
Well, what we do is we call the client. If I usually give kind of an hour grace period, where if I find something like a critical failure in the first hour, and like you mentioned, there's a couple of hot spots.
Right.
Corners of the roof.
Yep.
Skylights, slide out corners. If you can
Right.
go hit those really fast and you can get through that without some kind of water damage, you may find it later in a cabinet or something. But if you can hit those, hot spots in an hour and you find something, we call the client and we say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we found. I can do the whole inspection if you want, because some people want the project.
Right.
Some people want it, and
Right.
you know,
Right.
that's totally fine.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't. And if they don't, we'll either give them a refund or a credit.
Do you refund everything?
I have to cover my time for the day.
Right.
Not the whole day, but at least the travel
little bit?
time. Yeah, so that we're not, we're not a charity. So we do have to cover our time, but
You ought to be a charity.
501c3.
We all deserve it. Come on.
Donate to my
A few free
fundraiser.
days.
Donate to your rental program.
Yeah, exactly. But we try to I try to be fair, because if we find something like you said, like sometimes you get in there and you're like, this thing needs to go to
Yeah.
wholesale, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I see it down at the end of the road, and I'm dialing up on my phone saying, "Hey guys, that's not staying here."
We're not, and that's the big thing. So if we possibly can, and that person will usually turn into another inspection, because they're
Right.
actively shopping for an RV. They want to find the
Right.
right one. So
Oh, that's
it'll-
interesting.
It'll turn into another inspection somewhere else. It's just it's a fine line, because you are a business, right?
Right.
You do have to cover your time,
Sure.
but you also want to be fair to the customer that is hiring you. It's like, we're going to keep your money and only work for an hour. Well, that's not fair either, right? So
Right.
it's tough, but I think we have found the right balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to back up just a little bit. I heard something about you can't replace an air conditioner for at least a year.
That's right.
So are you building a service business? Is that the goal?
So right now, I'm not taking any repair work at all, because we're booking out so far with RV inspections. And we were at one time, we were doing more repair work, technician work, and we have some existing clients, and we're taking care of them because they're our existing customers. But at this time, I'm not really pursuing doing a mobile tech service. That may change, because, again, discussing those other inspectors, the demand for RV repair is unlimited.
Yes.
There is unlimited demand for RV repair. We had a sign in front of our RV. We had to take it down because people were beating our door down, trying to make us fix stuff. And it was like they were knocking on the door at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night.
So wait.
Waking my
You
son up.
live in an RV?
We are currently full-time RVers, yes.
Okay, well, that's something we should know. Something I
Yeah,
want
how
to
did
know.
we get this far and not know that?
Yeah, well, because he didn't say it.
Way to go.
I'm sorry.
It's
Well,
all on you.
here's my biography. It starts
Okay.
now. I was born in 19. No. So we did.
Okay.
We've done the full-time RV thing. We're approaching the end of that period.
Okay.
So we had a home down in Buda. We sold it. We wanted to experiment with doing 2 service areas. So we thought we'd do a summer service area in the Midwest and then the rest of the year down here. So we just got back from our Midwest service area about 6 weeks ago. So we did inspections and a little bit of mobile teching up in the Midwest, which is a very different place to work than Texas.
Why?
So there seem to be, I don't have any data, but I feel like
Okay.
there are fewer RV sales in that part of the country. It seems like
What are we talking Midwest here? Like,
Illinois, Wisconsin,
Illinois.
Indiana.
Yeah.
I did
okay.
have the great pleasure of working quite a bit in Elkhart.
Well, that's our next discussion. Y'all don't go anywhere.
But yeah, so I spent some time in Elkhart doing inspections on new and warranted RVs up there. That was
With who?
I don't want to dime anybody
Okay,
out, but
there are RV inspection places that try to get RVs inspected before, kind of in between the manufacturer and the dealer. It's a way to make your dealership more efficient. I don't know if it works.
I have never
So-
I've never successfully intercepted between the dealer and the manufacturer. But there's a lot of dealers that are in Indiana and they ship everywhere else.
Right.
They're
Right.
factory direct,
Yep.
allegedly.
Yeah, that's another tricky piece of this
Right.
business. And people think they're saving so much money.
I don't know that that's true.
And then when they get it, if there's any problems at all, and you know what those guys say? They say, "Oh, just take it to any dealership that carries that, and they'll take care of all the warranty for you."
I don't know that that's true.
I don't know that I can tell you that's not true. It's
It
not
is
that we
not.
don't want to take care of those guys. It's that the things that they bring to us for warranty should have been caught before it left the dealership. And if it's not, the manufacturer won't cover it.
Right.
And we're stuck in the middle. And all of a sudden, these customers, I don't mean to sound so angry. I'm just like, I don't know.
aggressive.
I don't know how to fix
I'm afraid.
it.
I'm in
I don't
fear.
know.
Yeah.
I feel terrible for these folks
For sure.
because they want to save money, right? So they drive, 1,500 miles? However far it is to Indiana, it is a far way, or someplace close, to pick up this unit because it's thousands cheaper, right? Because they're not paying transport fees. They have no service center. They didn't look at it. Sometimes they don't even throw a battery on it. And then they bring it home. Something doesn't work. They make this long list
Long list.
because they're
16, 17 items.
Yeah.
or 20 or
longer.
30 or 50 because they're researchers, so they document. That's how they found the cheap unit, and then they bring it into our service center, and maybe we can get 1 or 2 things covered.
Right.
Yep.
But the manufacturers, they cut off fixing things at a certain level, and then we're the bad guys because we won't fix it for them, and we get the bad reviews and the hate mail. It's really this interesting dynamic that's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, what's interesting is, I've done a couple of podcasts for other like dealer chains, and I've spent some time, like we said, with the manufacturer, and it's sort of like everyone is acknowledging that part of this doesn't work, but it's like we don't know what to do about it. And
Oh, well, you know why? I mean, it is simply capitalism.
right,
Because the manufacturer, they have to build a certain amount of units to be profitable. I mean, it isn't like, they're building high-rise buildings all over the world because
Right.
they have so much money. So they're balancing things, and they've got to make however many hundreds of units. Someone has to buy them, and they've got an outlet that's turning a lot of units. So do you cut them off because you want to protect the customers, or because I mean, it's a weird dynamic. It's a good selling outlet for the manufacturer. It's just not a good quality delivery to the
Right.
customer sometimes.
And that's, I think, this is what I perceive coming to Princess Craft, right? I perceive the why here, like this is why we work, is very customer centric. Like, hey, we want people to be happy and we want them to enjoy their RVs. That is the sense that I get. And so if the why is positive, you're spending time thinking about what is broken, right? How can we at Princess Craft fix it? If the why is net profit, then you're going to see Facebook groups with your dealership sucks at the end of it, right? Like that exists.
Those
does
are
exist.
there are some of those
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, it does exist.
They exist, right? Or you'll see like, hey, every time I could make a video about an inspection that I do, I'll pick on Brinkley, right? And like we just did one. There was barely anything wrong with it,
Right.
hardly anything. And the comments were all like, "Wah!" Like that's so terrible. And it's like, hey guys, wait a minute. This is actually really good. Like the intention was not to slam this brand. It's like some of the ones when we come in here and do like some of these brands are pretty good,
Right.
but there's so much anger from whatever experience they had when that
That's-
happened.
Yes.
And it's like, hey, it's not Brinkley's fault. It's not Princess Craft's fault, right? That 2 years ago you bought this other product from a weird dealership and you had
A bad
bad
experience.
But you were the one who has to deal with it. Brinkley's the one that has to deal with it. I'm not saying. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but
Yeah.
But that's
And
that's what
no
happens.
manufacturer's perfect.
It doesn't exist.
I mean, if anybody's ever even bought a new house, it doesn't matter if you pay $1 million for your house or $300,000 for your house, or you buy an old fixer-upper. There is always something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
It
And look
always
at
needs
cars.
to be fixed. There's something that isn't quite perfect. Cars.
Yeah. I worked in the car industry for 12 years, and guess what I did a lot of? Warranty work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because things go wrong, and it's just part of the game.
It is. And to your point, right? So we have RVs that cost $1 million. We have
Right,
RVs
we
that
do.
cost
We do.
$10,000, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But have you ever noticed that the air conditioners are the same?
They are 100%.
The water heaters
The
are
water
the
heaters
same.
are the same.
Yep.
PEX lines are the same.
They're the same. So that is the stuff that we see fails, right?
Right.
So the manufacturer can build an awesome box. They can be awesome at building that part, but then they have XYZ brand air conditioner and
That's
it
right.
fails, right? Or
That's right.
maybe there was some conversation about maybe mixing like this brand furnace and this brand air conditioner can cause weird things to happen in the control, and it's like especially if you use one of these digital control systems, right? And so like, okay, yeah, now you're angry, and to the technician on the ground's defense, they're trying to figure it out.
We've had that. And
Yes.
we're like this problem exists because these things don't talk to each other.
That's correct.
How much of a struggle is that for you? Because, not to throw anybody under the bus, but we've had inspectors that came and said, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. And we're like, what did the report say? And then we're like, no, he just didn't know how to do it. He didn't know how to turn it on.
Yeah, we've had that. We've had other inspectors come in and they didn't know how to operate the appliances, and they're like, it doesn't work. And we're like,
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
works.
It works. But the control has been a real evolving system. I mean, there's controls out there that I saw this weekend at our RV show that I've never seen before. And I'm like, okay, how does this control panel work?
Right.
Because it must be pretty cheap now to do your own proprietary control panel. It must be, because manufacturers are saying, build one for us.
Right.
That we can put out there and say, you have the XYZ fabulous
Connect on
smart
it.
system.
Which I would never ever. I personally I want a button. Like if it doesn't have a
I know.
button,
Yeah.
and some of them are really cool and they do amazing things. But like there's at least give me a button backup, right?
right.
Button backup.
So like I think some of the Jaycos they have like their little control panel, but then there's typically a button underneath the cabinet that will operate the slide in case it fails, which it will. So
FYI.
it will eventually fail.
We're going to scare people to death.
No.
They're never going to buy another RV. And it's just, we're not doing a good job here, Mike.
And that's kind of the shtick of, hey, we're full-time RVers. And I say all these things are bad, right? But I love the RV life. It's what we do. Like, we're gonna I have a 7-year-old. We need to have a house and put him in a school, right? But no shame on people that don't. But we love the RV life. It is possible to have
Yes.
a good time with your RV and enjoy it, but it's not. It doesn't always occur that way. And so, like, your question earlier was like, why do people do this? It's due diligence at the beginning. Like, get an inspection, make sure that everything works, and that way, when something does happen that's broken, your air conditioner goes out, you're not dealing with the 45 other things that the manufacturer missed and this new problem that just occurred on your transit. So,
Right.
you know, we want just like, let's figure out what's going on, get to a good stopping point, and then we'll address just the one thing instead of, you know,
Yes.
everything everywhere. Like, oh yeah, my AC doesn't work now, but also it's raining and it's raining inside.
Right.
You know, the floor is falling out, whatever else.
Right.
But that's kind of the whole idea of that is let's just get out ahead of it. But to circle back for a second with some of these control panels that exist, they don't all work with every single appliance that's out there. So
correct.
we had a client that the RV came with
true.
a tank type water heater. So it was a, you know, whatever 6-gallon, and he opted to put in a tankless water heater. Well, the problem is that the inrush at startup on that component is much higher,
Right.
and it trips that system every time. And nothing I can pray over it to do is going to change the output on that thing. And so we ended up
No miracle is going to fix it. huh?
exactly.
That's right.
So once we get it on, it's fine, but it only turns on one in every 6 or 7 times.
Oof.
And you know, so it's like, hey, you need to take this back to the dealership that built it for you, and because it was a at purchase upgrade,
Yep.
upgrade.
Ooh.
And so it's like you have to take it back to them and have them sort it out. But they don't all talk to each other. And those things that they come with, those paper books, right, the manual.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's. I don't know who writes those because, there is no deciphering.
No.
There is no
It's-
deciphering.
They
that.
can be a challenge, and like you have to get into the weeds. Like, oh yeah, you're right. This startup is 8 amps, and that one was rated for 5 amps. and
Right.
nobody in their right mind is getting into the weeds, you
Nope.
know,
Right.
reading that stuff. So
That's correct.
I get it, but it's tough.
Well, if you do read those things and understand them, yeah, we still like you. There are a few of you out there.
And that was you're supposed to put all your owner's manuals by the toilet, right?
So you can just sit there and read
Yeah,
them out.
sit there and read it while you're on the toilet.
But you know what? I see less and less of our used ones coming in with this giant binder full of all the paperwork.
Right.
And some of the manufacturers don't even print books anymore and instructions. It is all online.
It's all
Right.
online. Yep.
But those books are so generic, they don't help you when you usually
Correct.
have a problem. I mean, they're just not that helpful. So, I don't know. I there must be someone who loves those control panels. I think it feels like an upgrade to a customer. It's just touch here, your lights come on. Just touch here, your awning
It feels
goes out.
more like
could use
a
it.
smart home, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody kind of moved towards the smart home stuff. So why not integrate it into the RV world? I mean, even your cars can drive themselves and you can steer them from your phone. So let's get the RV industry moving that way.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
I think it causes a lot of confusion.
I
So-
agree. And that was to your question. You said, hey, you've had some inspectors that come out here and they're not
Yeah.
really sure how to do it. I hate that more than I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, I've never been stumped by the machine. I'm sure it has happened, right? But you should be going into the manual if you're going into an RV and you're going to inspect it and you're like, hey, the water heater doesn't work, the air conditioner doesn't work, and half the lights don't work. The odds of all of those things occurring simultaneously
Exactly.
is remote. And so it's like, all right, well, let's go into the manual and see if there is some guidance here. And a lot of the manuals,
Reset switch. Or
yeah, is there did the
Override.
dealership turn the battery disconnect on? You know, but like, do you need to go turn the whatever occurred?
Right.
Can we please try to troubleshoot this problem before we go in? We tell PJ that all these things don't work, and then they go outside and they're like, oh yeah, it does, because you do two things, right? So you immediately torpedo any credibility that you had with the customer, right? It's gone. And you torch the relationship with you and the dealership, especially if that results in like a lost sale. So there was a dealership in Dallas that I went to once, and the owner came out super nice. He's like, hey, can you explain to me how you check for water intrusion? said everything I do. He's like, you don't use a moisture meter. I say, well, not at first run. Why? Because there's aluminum in the wall, and it's going to set the moisture meter off. And he explained to me that an inspector had come in, used the moisture meter, said there was water intrusion. They unbuilt the slide, trying to prove that it wasn't. The customer still wouldn't buy it.
Oh.
So,
Well, I will tell you, yeah, there's a couple of problems with what we run into. And one of them is when the inspector comes through and he says, XYZ doesn't work. And we're like, no, we push the button and it works. The customer believes the inspector and they don't believe the dealership.
That's correct.
That has happened 100% of the time.
yeah, that's tough. And
So-
what we try to do is I try to document those things. So, like, hey, if the air conditioner doesn't work, here is also a picture of the thermostat and the control so that you can see, like, hey, no, Mike actually did try. We just had this happen where the dealership told me, they came out, they said, hey, you can't use water because the water pump doesn't work, the tank sensors are wrong. And I was like, that feels unlikely to me. They're like, we tried to put water in, it started overflowing, so I know it's full. I was like, I think your low point valve is open, right? And just like reach
Yeah.
down and like close the low point. It was just a simple thing, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
we worked through it. But it's like, hey, and then also it's important from the inspection point of view that you make the good faith effort to
Right.
troubleshoot it.
Right.
But also to tell everybody, like, I'm just a human, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can be stumped.
Right.
It happens. The dealership techs who fix it are just human.
And
right?
that's the other piece of it. I mean, you've heard the old adage 50% of the doctors out there, they graduated in the bottom half of their class.
That's right.
Right?
Practicing medicine.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're like, well, my doctor told me. I'm like, well, he told you wrong, okay? Because there's this, you hear the craziest things on occasion. All that to be said, there are inspectors who maybe aren't top of their class, for lack of a better word. And yeah, I think they can do an inspection for you. Are there ways to see if you have a good inspector? I mean, how do you do that?
So, so I'm a member of the National RV Inspectors Association. They're the ones who do the inspector training. But what I tell people all the time is that's the entry level, right? That's the, hey, I've done the test, I've got my credentials. What has that inspector done since then, right? So, maybe they worked for 25 years at Princess Craft and then they retired and now they're an RV inspector, right? They were a technician, so they have a lot of skills and they just go, sweet, that person is probably very good at their job, right? Maybe they went to RVTI after they got their inspector certificate and became a certified technician, or they worked at whatever's going on. So I tell people all the time, well, seek more credentials than just I am an inspector. The
Okay.
best inspectors are also or were previously technicians. Those are the best ones.
Not police officers.
Or both.
Oh, wow.
Or both, right?
That felt like a knife.
Well,
fired.
just checking.
No, so,
Just checking.
know-
I mean, hire a cop and
But
inspect
attention
an
to
RV.
detail.
yeah.
I mean, these guys, as a law enforcement, right? You got to be involved in an event and still be able to recall everything that occurred in your reports, right? Like you got to take in a lot of information at one time and then be able to remember it.
Exactly, and report writing is a big part of this, right? So, like, yeah, it's awesome that were a tech and now you're an inspector, but do you know how to read, right? Like, we have
A
to
lot
be
of
able.
them can't. Yeah, I'm telling you. And technicians, the best technicians cannot write legibly. They just can't.
But they're so good at installing roofs.
They cannot.
And they do all these other things that are great. So yeah, like let's seek prior experience.
Okay.
And let's see what else they have, right? So like I'm a certified technician as well. I wrench on this stuff. And then I've gone to Lippert and to Dometic training and all these other things. So you should look for that person. Make sure they have insurance. That's a big one.
That's
It's
a
like
good
if I
one.
fall through your roof, either I will pay for it or the insurance will. And do they have reviews? Like I'm a big believer in reviews, and I don't know why somebody would hire an inspector with no reviews, no insurance, no technical background, and then they just say like, oh yeah, we trust you.
Because they were cheaper.
They were probably cheaper, and which if that's your primary concern, that's the risk you're going to take. So if you're looking for an inspector, you do want someone who at least voluntarily agrees to the code of ethics the NRVIA has, or is NRVIA certified, is also a technician or has some technical background, is insured, and is positively reviewed.
Okay, so
That's
where do you
huge.
look? Do you just Google RV inspector?
So there's a couple ways to do it. We put all that stuff on our website. We're actually making an FAQ right now that says, hey, this is, because we can't, we have social media followers all over the country. I can't go to Maine and do an RV inspection for you. Well, I can. It's just going to cost a lot.
It's going to be real
It's going to be really
Yeah.
expensive. But so we put that on our website. But otherwise, there's the locator service called RV Help, right, where you can find RV inspectors and technicians. And a lot of this is captured there. So if you were to Google where we are right now, there'd be me. There's another inspector in San Antonio who has about as many reviews, and he's a very skilled technician. And then there's like a big jump, and then there's a bunch of other inspectors in the area that are
So
different.
do you, I mean, I want to be clear, you just Google RV inspectors.
Yeah, or go to rvhelp.com and
RVhelp.com and say inspectors
Yeah.
near me.
you can also find
or something.
certified technicians there and tank washers and detailers and all these other services that are available to you.
Okay.
But that is a good place to start.
Okay.
How much money are we talking?
It's going to vary for the inspection.
Yeah.
It's going to vary based. We have different
To
tiers.
fly you to Maine?
That's going
No,
to be
that's
going to be
that,
costly.
that would be interesting.
Somebody wants us to go to Lubbock this weekend, and that's going to cost more than Maine because I don't want to go to Lubbock. But no.
Don't blame
That's fair.
But no, so it's going to vary. So we have different tiers of inspection.
Sure.
And the size of the trailer is going to, the size of the RV is going to justify it.
I've got a 20-foot trailer, basic 20-foot trailer.
So we have inspection products that start as low as like $3.99, and for
and what
these,
does that entail?
that's sort of a more, and that would be for like see your teardrops out here. That would be like a basic, everything works and it has a roof, floor, and ceiling kind of thing, right? Where we're not going to get into the weeds of serial numbers and sort of stuff like that. Whereas the high level inspections, for a giant Class A motorhome where we're pulling fluids out of an engine and sending them to a lab for testing, that can be $1,600-$1,700. But that's the kind of stuff where like I'm on my hands and knees and I'm poking sealant all the way around the roof, and we're looking for tiny, itty bitty holes where it takes 8 or 10 hours to do an inspection like that, where the first kind might only take me 2 hours
Right.
to go through something like that. We try to have a product for everybody because not everybody wants, the dissertation with 200 pictures in the report, right? Okay, cool. So we'll make an inspection product for them that still covers the broad strokes. So it varies is the answer.
Okay.
We try to have something for everybody.
So the most expensive inspection, $1,700, $2,000
Yeah,
ish.
I mean, people
If
have...
it's a big motorhome and they want to know everything about it.
Yeah, because, for example, with the motorhomes, sometimes I'll take 5 fluids out of the engine, right? We'll take engine oil, transmission fluid, radiator coolant, generator oil. Somebody asked me to take the AquaHot fluid once and send it to the lab for testing, right? You can get into the weeds and the dollar amount can go up, and
Sure.
we'll do it, but I don't know that that's always, that level of detail might be excessive sometimes. But yeah, and then like people have sent me to other states to do inspections. Obviously, it's going to cost more to
Sure.
I've gone to Arizona. In the summer, people will send me to Arizona in August. And it was 113 degrees. I did 3 inspections back to back. It was brutal. But yeah, then
Wow.
you can get into the big dollars. But we don't do a lot of giant motorhome inspections because
Yeah.
there's not that many giant
Not
motorhomes.
many of them going around.
Right.
I think we did 3 Class A motorhomes last month.
I'll tell you what, if I'm looking at a high dollar used Class A motorhome, I might want all those fluid samples
Yeah.
tested.
Yeah, if you're looking at a $500,000 motorhome,
Yeah.
you want to know what kind of shape it's in, and $2 or $3 grand or $5 grand to fly you to Arizona, it's worth it to be sure that you've got something that's not going to need a new engine.
yeah, seriously.
And that's the big thing about fluid. I test my truck. I think fluid samples are great, and we find it all the time where, like the coach will be beautiful. It'll be amazing. This beautiful Tiffin Zephyr, right? It's got the
Yes.
shiny paint, and then like I pull, I'm like, the engine oil is full of coolant. Right?
Oof.
Like it's
Yeah.
that's a big problem.
That's a
for the-
problem.
That's a big right? Like
Yeah.
that's a big
That's
problem.
a big problem.
Like
Expensive.
it's a very expensive problem. So yeah, we can get into those weeds, but all that to say, I don't want the listener to think like, oh, I want this teardrop. It's going to be $1,500. It's not. It's not going
Yeah.
to be that for me to come out and do that. We try to make something for everybody.
Very
Good deal.
good. Well, I have learned a lot today talking to you, and I really appreciate your time. How can people find your business or you specifically?
So For real world services, come to Cozy Camper ATX.
Real world services. What do you mean?
So if you want us to come out and do an inspection for you, go to cozycamperatx.com. All of our information is there. We're
Cozy
also-
Camper. Wait. How did you end up with Cozy Camper?
So that was the rental business name, and we were selling we were selling or renting small campers. Like we actually came here in like 2019 and looked at something, 2020, a long time ago. But anyway, so we were like, oh, Cozy Camper, it's alliteration, rolls off the tongue, sounds great. And then for a while we were doing kind of everything all at once, commingling funds. Sorry, accountant. And then we found we couldn't extricate the name, so Cozy Camper stuck, even though it was originally about renting small campers from us.
So it's singular, Cozy Camper.
CozyCamperATX.com.
ATX because it's Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Although,
For those of you who are not all the way there, or you just imported from California.
that's right.
There's a lot of you.
But we do provide RV inspection service all over the state of Texas, even
Okay.
in Lubbock and Amarillo, if somebody is willing to send us out there. And then we're also very active on all the social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and now YouTube, where we have some cool new stuff coming out on YouTube over the next couple of months, where we're going to start to involve the client in some of these inspection reviews. So it'll be cool stuff. But that's how you find us.
That is cool stuff. And I remember somebody said Cozy Camper. Oh yeah, and I said I love that. It's kind of like Princess Craft. Doesn't give you really quite the clue of what they do, but we got stuck with the name when things got commingled, and then we couldn't
extricate it.
we couldn't change. So yeah, Princess Craft RV came from a manufacturing business, and yours came from a rental
It sure
business.
did.
So cozycamperatx.com. And Mike, it has been a pleasure. Y'all look him up if you're in the area, somewhere in Texas, and you need an inspection. Speak with dear Elizabeth, and she'll take care of you. Right?
That's right.
All right. Well, a little bit of housekeeping here at Princess Craft. We just finished an RV show, talked to a lot of great folks there. So we're restocking our lot. You can come see us. We have all kinds of product coming in now, some new lineup. So check out the website. Did I miss anything? Anything else? So yeah, stay tuned. That is our latest and greatest. We got to talk to Cozy Camper today, and we'll see you next time because we're going to do this again next week. All right. Y'all have funny.
Bye.
Y'all have funny.
Funny.
Y'all have funny too, but have fun. Go camping. Bye.
Bye.
Later, y'all.